Welcome to Baseline Thoughts, the podcast where we take a deep dive into all things basketball. We explore the ins and outs of the sport we all love. Grab your headphones and get ready to talk hoops with Baseline Thoughts. Welcome to Baseline Thoughts. I'm your host, Marcus Bullock, as always with producer Jason Brice. Jay, how we doing today?
Hey, not bad, Coach. Not bad. Glad to be here.
Good. With me to my left, I have second-year Cherry Hill West head coach Fred Battee. Fred, how's everything going?
Everything's going pretty well.
Good. So I asked Fred to come on today. What I really wanted to talk about was he made a jump. He's been an assistant coach for how many years were you assistant? 5?
I was
1, 2, 2?
1, 4.
Oh, 4.
So 7 years.
Oh, it was 4. Okay.
7 years, yeah.
7 years, and then last year made the jump over one seat to being the head coach at Cherry Hill West after being the assistant there for 4 years. And I wanted to just get into the differences, what it takes to make that jump, and how his team kind of responded to it, going from being with his same players as an assistant and then transferring over to a head coach. Just kind of want to, take a deep dive into some of those things. First of all, let's talk about, what you got going on now, Cherry Hill West. What are you guys doing now? How's the offseason been leading up to the season?
Offseason's been good. It's been interesting. We're in a situation where we're kind of marrying our 4 returners with a lot of young guys. So it's one, trying to get the older guys to be patient and kind of mentor the young guys, and it's trying to get the young guys up to speed, trying to put them on an accelerated course to get them ready to play. So it was good. We did a lot in the summer, played in a bunch of showcases, played in the summer league. We're in a fall league right now, playing in a couple showcases. I'm grateful that we have some people that'll stay after school and watch our guys as they stay after and train. They stay after 3-4 days a week and work together. So it's good. The guys are excited. I'm excited. I'm happy they're working hard.
And it's funny. I know, knowing your team pretty well, you have a bunch of, like you said, returners, and they have to be patient with the young guys when just a couple years ago, they were those same young guys that. And
I've explained that to them on numerous occasions.
Because you had a couple of those guys who are now seniors who were playing as freshmen, who I'm sure were just as raw,
just as green,
as the guys you have now are.
Yeah.
So now in New Jersey, we cannot do any type of basketball on court work with our team until the day, the week of Thanksgiving. How are you handling that? How are you making sure your guys are still getting the work they need at this time?
Well, I just kind of put that on our seniors to be leaders in kind of these these captains practices. They're constantly asking if they can get in the gym. I make sure I schedule time and get some coverage for them to work. It's hard to go to these games and showcases and not be able to coach and kind of just have to hold my tongue about certain things. But I've expressed to the seniors that this is the time where, as leaders, they can take a step forward.
Yep.
So when the season comes and they're asked to speak up or they see something, they feel comfortable speaking out about it because they've kind of been in this leadership role for the last few months.
Right. Definitely an advantage having seniors that don't play fall sports as well.
I have some seniors that are playing fall sports, and I actually had a guy, Drew Polano, played with us today, and just seeing the impact that he was able to have on the floor, just as a leader, just having some senior leadership there, it was refreshing. Because Drew does a lot of things that won't show up in the box score, but just his ability to communicate, his ability to lead. His patience with some of the younger guys it was good. It was good to see, something that we're going to need to see.
Cool. All right. So let's get into your coaching timeline here a little bit. And I'm going to have 1 or 2 questions about each spot you were at before you became a head coach. So your first stop was at Cherry Hill East.
Cherry Hill East.
How many years were you at Cherry Hill East?
2 years.
So you were for 2 years under legendary coach Dave Allen, who in my opinion is, if not the best coach in South Jersey, he's right there with anybody. What did you learn from him? What did you take away from him? I mean, give me the good stuff. I know he can be a little crazy at times, but I think that also goes into his genius at times as well. So what'd you take from him in that situation?
To coach with Dave is like it's like being taken out into the ocean and just dumping you right into the middle of it. There's no like walking in. So I was a freshman coach, and I didn't just go to freshman practices. He had me come to the varsity practices and kind of learn everything they do. I was able to really watch him practice, how they install stuff, how they go through, walk through, how they prepare. Then I would stay and do my practice. And then I would be trying to leave. I'd try to sneak out and Dave would grab me. We watch film for another hour. So it would be long days. I'd be there till, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. But I learned so much during that time. And, Dave's still one of my best friends to this day. I talk to him every day. So that for me, I grew so much as a coach in those 2 years, just from the time I put in, and I kind of learned what it took to be successful, and what better model to have than Dave Allen. He's been pretty good.
I agree. And then your next stop was Lynden Wald.
It was Lynden Wald.
And you were there for
a year,
just a season,
just a year.
And for those of you, if you haven't watched our episode with Tazier Canty, please go back and watch that, as we share a great story about Tazier scoring his 1,000th point the last game of the season, where he needed 55. So definitely go back and watch that. And Fred had a lot to do with that, I guess. So how was that? How was your experience at Lynden Wald? Randy Connolly, head coach there. They've definitely, since you've been there, made some jumps and strides forward, and I'm sure you had a helping hand in getting that going in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, coaching with Randy was great. He's super passionate. He has a lot of rah-rah in him, and that's something I don't. So I was able to learn that a little bit, because he gets his teams down at Lynden Wald to play really hard, regardless of what they have talent-wise. He really gets them to play hard. And when they got the talent, you see they were in the South Jersey final a few years ago. So he does a nice job down there. Coaching Tazier was a great experience. He's one of my favorite players I've ever coached. Even to this day, when I see him, we still have a great relationship. So Lynden Wald was every spot I went to, I learned and got better. So it was an experience there.
And then you head to Cherry Hill West, where you're an assistant coach for 4 years under South Jersey legend Aaron Burt.
United States legend.
United States. Okay, that's true. Yes, that is true. You're right about that. What did you learn from Coach Burt? Just your time as assistant there.
Aaron was good, man. It was my first year. I was kind of nervous because he didn't really know me that well. We didn't talk that much before the season started, and I went to him before our first game against Eastern. I was like, "Hey, I kind of want to walk through some stuff," and he was just like, "It better work." So we went through some film. We went through and we worked, and ended up having a good year. And Aaron really gave me a lot of confidence, gave me a lot of freedom to do different things. And I actually think that really helped my transition to being a head coach. With his job running team final, he's gone, sometimes in the summer. So that was time for me to really take over the program and kind of run the summer stuff. So during that time, I was able to get what it's like to run a summer program, get what it's like to, coach in the fall league, get to coach in varsity situations. So, that was a good experience there.
Cool. Now let's get into some things here. What do you think it takes? Give me a couple of things you think it takes to be a good assistant coach. Everybody wants to be a head coach. Everybody wants to, run their own program. But as an assistant coach, you're super important to any program. What do you think it takes to be a good assistant coach?
I think there's 3 different types of assistant coaches. I think you have your guys who are your strategy guys. They watch a ton of film behind the scenes. They're able to go to head coach and say, I see this, this, and this. You have your guys that really focus on development. And then you have your guys who are your relationship guys, who build relationships with your players. If they're having an issue, they're able to come to you and kind of have that conversation. You can kind of play the liaison between them and the head coach. I think a great assistant coach does a little bit of all 3. So I think by the end, I was a pretty good assistant because I was able to do all 3. I think in all the different spots I was at, I was kind of all those different things. I think at East, I was really a development guy because I was coming off of training. So that was my strength. At Lynden Wald, I was a relationship guy, kind of played good cop off Randy's bad cop. And then at West, I kind of handled a lot of strategic stuff. So by the time we ended West, I kind of was good at all 3 of those areas.
Yeah.
If I can ask, well, first of all, kudos to you, because, and I love the question, Coach, your humility. I think, you know what I'm saying, and you haven't mentioned that, but I think it's because it comes, I want to say natural, but it's something that you've developed, I'm sure. Everybody has to develop it. But I think it's your humility that, you know, has carried you to, like, because assistant coaches, and I love the fact that you broke down 3 types because you're right. You know what I'm saying? And shout out, I don't want to, I'm not even shouting, I'm sorry. But we got coaches that's just like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, wow, you're right. But you also have to have an assistant coach like yourself that's humble. You didn't come in there like trying to like be in competition with the voices. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I think that to me is probably how you develop the most because you didn't have that agenda. Right. You know what I'm saying? So kudos to you. Shout out to you, man.
All right. So last, not this past summer, summer before that, you take over as the head coach at Cherry Hill West. What was the first thing that changed that you noticed was different? You know, once you got the official title, you're the head coach at Cherry Hill West.
I think it was, I realized that everything that I did had an impact on everybody. When as an assistant, it kind of wasn't like that. I kind of had my guys that I went to, and, you know, other guys went to other guys, but you know, I'm like the driving force for our culture, and you know, everything that I want to see from them, I have to do. If I tell those guys to be there at 9:15 for a 9:45 practice, I can't walk in at 9:20. If I tell our guys to, you know, keep their emotions in check, I can't lose my mind over it. Like, I just have to be the embodiment of what I want to see from those guys. So it took kind of that line of thinking to go like, all right, everything I do affects everybody.
Yeah, that's a very good point. The first thing I noticed, obviously I'm in the same situation as you were in, players stopped reaching out to me about little things, right? Yeah. So, you know, like you talked about, I was an assistant just like you, and you're the relationship guy. And when something goes wrong in these kids' lives, you know, they might reach out to you and just something simple that, you know, that stopped happening. You know,
with the younger guys, yes. But with guys like Quinn and Drew, who I've been coaching since they were 14, and Ben and those guys, like, I had such a good relationship with those guys. It wasn't like I wasn't new to them. You know, so I was able to keep that going.
That's good. Good. So now everybody, when you become a head coach, everybody knows, you know, you have the final say. You're the X and O guy. You know, you're calling all the plays. You know, you're deciding who's going into the game. What are some things that maybe people don't think about when you take that seat, that one seat over to becoming the head coach? What are some things that change that people may not be aware of or think of right away?
Kind of the same answer before. Like when you're talking about playing time, when I was the assistant, it was, all right, we just need to put the best 5 on the floor. And I wasn't really worried about what the after effects of that. Right. So like now I got to think, all right, if I take this kid out, I got to have a conversation with him after. If I make a change in the lineup, I got to have a conversation. So it's more just, trying to be aware of how everybody's feeling, because, you know, if 3 guys are now feeling away, if you have 3 of your top 10 feeling away, you have an issue. Right. So that really affects it. So yeah, I think just trying to take account and manage the expectations of everybody is something I didn't have to do before and have to do now. So that's a big thing that I've noticed. Moving over that one chair.
For me, it was like all the administrative stuff, like like this, even like the schedule. Like, you want to play this team, you want to play that team. When do you want to play this team? Who do you want to scrimmage? What time is the bus going to leave? All of that. It was just like, wait, what? Like, you know, like just stuff like that you knew you had to deal with, but like I didn't realize how much of that stuff actually like you had to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, we have a really good team. Our athletic director is really involved. So he's always asking, even before he was like, what do you think about playing this team? What do you think about playing that team? So that stuff wasn't a shock. But yeah, I actually like kind of having more control over it now.
No, yeah.
Before it was kind of out of my hands.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
But now I kind of like that I can, hey, we want to get to this place early. So instead of the bus leaving at 9:30, let's leave at 9. And let's do those type of things. Yeah. So
let me ask a question. How hard was that I guess transition to obtaining that level of discipline in order to be that leader? You know what I'm saying? Like, because, change takes time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you went from, so when did you decide to make that change? Did you make that change when you got the job, or did you make that change before you got the job to be prepared for the job?
So Dave Allen gave me the best advice that I ever got, and it was treat every day like an interview.
Absolutely.
So that's what I did at East. That's what I did at Lynden Wald. That's what I did at West. Every day that I was there, I was preparing like tomorrow they could come in and say, you're the head coach.
Right.
So I was always just kind of planning, seeing what worked, what didn't work. I keep a long thing in my notes of ideas I wanted to do. So yeah, it was definitely like a years in the making thing.
And yeah, I think that's great advice, number one. And number two, again, like I said, I think why I think, your teams are and will continue to be successful is because the kids are seeing that, you know what I'm saying? Because that's a tough thing for kids to grasp, how to be ready for the moment and not wait for the moment to be ready.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
champions prepare like champions before they're champions.
Absolutely.
It's a great quote. That's a good one. Mm-hmm. Now I know you are big on player development. How do you, during the season, during the summer, when you can be on the court with the players, how do you handle that? Meaning, do you have certain times where you just work on that? Do you bring in kids before or after practice? And what's been the biggest challenge you've faced with that aspect of coaching? Player development is obviously a big piece of it, but it's also, there's so much more team stuff that needs to get done. How have you been able to balance that?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I'm still in the process of figuring that out now. Like, I know you were talking earlier about this is a time where you're kind of managing out your practices and planning practice. Obviously, we want to do more skill development. It's hard. You look at I go to a college practice and there's 7 assistant coaches. So player development's able to do it there. I had a really good assistant coach this year who was able to kind of split guys with me. I'm excited. I got another assistant this year. So just the more eyes we have, the more bodies we have, I think the more we'll be able to dig into player development. In the summer, it's great because I'm able to kind of break down and do different things. I want to keep that going during the season, still trying to figure out that balance.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I don't think we ever have it completely balanced the way we'd want.
Because there's just so much to do. There's like that a lot of people don't think about. There's just so much to do.
Now, I think the biggest change from an assistant coach to a head coach is the pressure and expectations that are just immediately placed upon you. How have you handled that? Have you felt that, when it comes to, winning games or dealing with certain players' playing time, and, you get the my favorite question, what do I need to do to get more playing time? From the last kid on the bench or whoever it may be. But like, how has that gone for you? How have you felt that's been?
You know what? There was some pressure going into this year, going into last season, because we had a good team returning. But I just looked at it like it's a good thing. It means we have a good team coming back.
Right.
So how do I handle pressure? I guess we just prepare. To be ready for those moments. I have a great relationship with a lot of different coaches in the area, people I'm able to call and kind of give me another perspective. I call Marcus probably 2-3 times a week just to either vent about things, either to bounce ideas. And sometimes it's just good to hear that somebody else is dealing with some of the same stuff you're dealing with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I handle it. I love being a part of a season. There's nothing better than basketball season for me. Sure. So, people might look at it as pressure, and it is stressful, but this is at this point in my life, this is pretty much all I know. Right. So, the pressure is hard, but it's fun. As far as like managing expectations, I've tried to be really blunt and honest with these guys before we even get into games, just so they can kind of taper their expectations. Because a lot of times you get in you run into problems. It's just because they have expectations to play more. But if you have the conversation with them early and say, hey, listen, this is what I see for you, and I have this plan to get you here at some point, I think then they can. Then it's okay, not just I'm just sitting here. I never know when I'm going to play. Right. So I think that's kind of I've tried to be open and honest with those guys about where I see them.
Yeah, I think that the piece you said about, and here's my plan for you of how we can get more for you, I think is strong, because that kind of puts the onus on them too. Like, here's what you need to do, and I'm going to help you get there, but you have to do your part. And if that all works out, then this is where we will be. So I think that's a good way to approach it. I
think also, I mean, you talked about like leadership, you know what I'm saying? You said you talked to coach, because it's, it's relatable and he's kind of going through it, right? Mm-hmm. So with you being as a leader, how do you, besides talking with Marcus, like how do you keep yourself still kind of going? Like, for me, I'm a spiritual person, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like everything I do for God, right? And then also I talk with other people, other leaders, because leadership, I don't know if you've noticed this yet. I'm sure Coach has, but you know what I'm saying? And I'm sure you have, because you have children, right, too? Right?
No,
not yet. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I want that for you. You know what I'm saying? But you'll understand, fatherhood is sacrificial. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So leadership is very lonely. So it's a lonely.
That is something I noticed this year.
It's very lonely.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because everybody doesn't understand or see it how you see it.
Right.
So how do you deal with that, other than just with talking with Coach? I'm just curious.
I don't know. I mean, once I'm in it, I'm kind of in it. I don't even really think about it that much.
I got you.
There are times where I'll decompress for a second and kind of not think about it. I might, spend some time with some family or whatever. But,
okay.
You know what? To be honest, our team is great. Like I enjoy being around those guys.
Okay.
So that definitely makes the experience better.
Big time. Yeah.
Right. If weekends where, afterwards we'll sit and we'll talk about whatever for 45 minutes.
Sure.
It kind of helps put things in perspective, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm coaching. I don't have any kids, but I know I'm coaching somebody's kids, and I want to treat them how I would want my son treated.
Sure.
Right. So yes, it's pressure packed, and there's experiences, but you want to still know who you're coaching, and you're giving that experience to them. So I don't try to make it about me as far as the pressure. Like there was a game this year where we had guys sick, guys out. We lost a tough one. Realized probably not going to win a division, which was a goal we had. And I just told those guys after, listen, I don't tell you guys this enough, but I love you guys, and I love that we're doing this, and we're going to get through this. And we didn't say anything about the game. We just talked about our group. And I just think if you just focus on, hey, we're doing this for the people in this room, then I think that kind of takes that pressure off, because you're playing for each other. So it makes it a lot easier. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does. It does. And actually, I'm sorry, Coach. I just want, when you talked about, excuse me, we talked about, having those conversations, but after you didn't win you guys were working for, and you had to talk to them. So what is that conversation? Because you have to kind of put your own feelings aside.
Yeah.
Like something, and listen, I'm sure, I just remember being in a real playoff pressured game, kids lost, eyes crying, just defeated. And you are too, to so to speak. Yeah. So how do you manage that?
But that was a moment I was just vulnerable with it, because we were all upset. I don't even want to. Let's not hide from the fact that we're all upset. I don't want to come in and give you the rah-rah speech, and we're going to no. This sucks. We are hurting right now, but guess what? We're going to figure it out. Right. And through that, one of our players sent a text to the group chat. The next day or that night, it was no rain, no flowers. We got to go through some stuff to get to the other side. So we're going to get through it together. And we finished off the season pretty strong. But it was just, sometimes there's times for me to kind of hold my emotions in. Right. Other times there's times where I'm just vulnerable. Hey, this is what we're dealing with.
And they need to see that.
Yeah.
I think that they need to see that, because then it makes them feel like, oh, we really are all in this together. And Coach is with me too.
Yeah. Right. And I think one thing that I figured out early is when I was coaching with Dave, my first year, I wanted to be Dave. So like, and then I just realized like I'm not getting the best out of guys by trying to be somebody else. Right. I was just mimicking the behavior I saw. That's real for him. So that's why it works for him. Like I remember I had a freshman game and I went off on these guys after the game. And I got in the car and I felt terrible because that's not who I am. So since that point, like I've just been extremely just authentic. I've been myself. So they'll see me when I'm happy about things, when I'm pissed off, if I'm sad about a loss, like I'm just, I don't feel any type of way about, there's no machismo here where like, guess what? We lose, I'm upset. So there's just trying to get them to see that.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Now, talking about the bad times, your season ends with the loss at Ocean City in the playoffs. Tough game for you guys. You're up big in the first half, played a great first half, and then it kind of just completely flipped on you in the second half. Struggled to score, end up losing at the buzzer, was it?
It was at the buzzer, yeah.
It was at the buzzer. Obviously, and I'm sure, the last game of the season, those end of the season conversations are never easy, but then I'm sure losing the way you guys lost made it even tougher. But I want to get into, after that, I called you and I had heard, some things and people questioning, what should Fred have done, calling me, what should Fred have done differently? Kind of putting the blame on you. How did you respond to that? What are your thoughts about that? Not about the person saying that, but just at the end of the day, no matter what you do, right or wrong, people are going to put the blame on you.
Yeah, I mean, that just kind of comes with the territory, right? So, when you win, the guys played great. When you lose, you suck. It was all right. I mean, I called you after that game. We've talked about that game numerous times. I think we played as well as we could have played in that first half, and we couldn't play any worse in the second. But it's just a game. Basketball is such a weird game. I mean, we had a game, we made 7 threes in the first half, and we went 3 for 19 in the second half. I've watched that game a ton of times. Sometimes the basketball guys just don't want you to win. But in that moment, I really wasn't focused on what outside people were saying. Because like I said, I was just worried about the guys in the room. And, we had a great talk in that locker room. We had a nice talk when we got back. And I didn't want the guys to look at that day and have negative feelings about the season. Because we did some great things. I mean, we won 20 games. Like that's really hard to do in high school basketball in South Jersey. So I wanted them to be able to look back on this and still know that we have things to build on from it. So I just kind of focus on the positive things. People are going to talk. I don't really listen to them. It doesn't matter. They're not making a decision. So it is what it is.
Good. I'm sorry. Wow, I didn't even know all that, but I'll just say this, man. What did it say? To whom much is given, much is required. And what I'm saying? It just comes with the territory. But the one thing is people like that, I don't know. How do you respond to that? Like, I mean, I know you don't respond to it. Like, you don't respond to it, right? But you will still respond to it, bro. You know what I'm saying? But how do you respond to it? Because people, it's not even really, okay, you know what? Listen, you got them to the point. You got them in the game. You got them playing well. Things happen. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes players take their foot off the gas. It happens. Kids get comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So, anything can happen. And this is,
I don't want to make it like we just played bad. Ocean City was a very, 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 very good team.
Sure.
Very well coached. They played.
And you were there.
Yeah, they were very, very good. So I don't want to take anything away from that.
Sure.
I was very impressed. Like, I watched that game back. Very impressed with the way that they fought.
Wow.
They fall back.
Wow.
So,
I mean,
I don't want to take anything away from them.
So, but you just ignore the outside noise for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, what can I do?
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. You're right.
Like, I know that, the work that I'm putting in to be better every day. Like, I know, if we lose, it's not because, we're not working hard enough. It's just kind of how the ball bounces.
Right, I got you.
Yeah. So now let's we're getting ready to start the season. What are your goals for the season, and also what are your goals for yourself long term?
For myself, it's just continuous improvement, just trying to get better every day. I watch a lot of the great coaches in the area, and I want to, have the success that they did. I talk to them when I can and try to get little, nuggets of information. But my goal is to make Cherry Hill West one of the best basketball programs in South Jersey. So that's my goal. That's what I'm working forward to every day. Our goal for the season, we're just going to get better every day. I don't want to put a number goal on wins. I hate when people are saying, we're at Peak Skills. People are like, oh, you guys, you should win this and do this in your group. And I'm like, I just want to get to practice on our first day. Right. Like, I'm not even we played Cherokee first. I'm not even thinking about that yet. Like, I'm just worried about, getting our group better every single day.
Cool. All right, we got some quick hitters here as we wind it. As my producer loves to say, Lynden
the plane.
What is your? I already know the answer to the food, but what is your favorite food spots?
Are we talking restaurants?
Whatever. Food. Favorite food spot.
My favorite food spot. I don't know if I really have a favorite food spot.
Okay. What's your favorite food?
Chicken parmesan.
Okay.
Olive Garden chicken parm is very underrated.
Oh, it's very delicious.
Okay.
It's underrated. And people will snub their nose at it, but it's.
I think Olive Garden is in general underrated. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
When you have real Italian food, you see why it is the way.
Okay, see, so that's not real.
No,
it's not. No, I understand that it's not. I know it came in a little tin and they put it in the thing. I get all that.
No, I mean, because
fresh made.
Well, I've been lucky enough. My head coach Valori is as Italian as they come, so he took me to some spots, and I'm like, oh, this is the difference.
There's a spot in Philly I heard about, and you got to go downstairs. So some type
if you got to go downstairs, it's probably pretty dope.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Top 2 favorite players of all time.
Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan.
Okay. Okay.
Who's better? Who's the GOAT between those two?
Who's the GOAT? The GOAT's Michael Jordan.
Okay. All right.
And now you've named a bunch already, so this should be a quick question. But coaches that you follow or that are mentors to you.
So obviously, Marcus, I got to give you a lot of credit because you got me into coaching. Marcus actually gave me my first coaching job. I was coaching 5th grade B team travel basketball from Cherry Hill. So I think I was only working for a month. And you were like, yo, I got this team for you. So Marcus, Dave Allen, I still talk to Aaron Bird a lot. Big fan of Paul Wiedemann. I steal a lot of his stuff. Five.
Doesn't have to be 5. That was all right.
Good group. I don't want to give these guys too much credit.
Yeah, I hear you. So now this one, I'm gonna let you choose. So when we've had players on, they've been tasked to give me the top 5, make a team of players they've played with, including themselves. So now as a coach and a player, I'm gonna let you choose. You can pick 5 players that you've coached, or you can make a team of 4 other players you've played with.
Okay. I'll just do 5 players I coach.
Okay.
So we'll go Quinn Gibson.
Cherry Hill West.
We'll go Ben Manns from Cherry Hill West. We'll go
Drew University.
He's at Drew.
Shout out Quinn Gibson on his offer from Westchester as
Westchester, yeah. We got Tazier
Canty.
We have Hakim Melvin. From Cherry Hill West. Cherry Hill West legend, by the way. I need one more.
You one more?
Who I have? I got Hawk, Taz, Quinn, Ben. And who do I need? Let's throw Justin Smith in. Oh, no. Let's throw your boy in there.
I was about to say.
Let's go Darnell in there. One of the best scorers
I've
ever coached. Oh, my God. Yeah.
Man, this
Darnell.
Yep. Score.
Yep.
He can score. That's a pretty balanced team.
Yeah.
Okay. That team can compete.
I don't know how much defense that team's playing.
Well, you're coaching.
The defense is scoring.
You're coaching, so you better
play some zone.
All right, final question. Who would you like to see on Baseline Thoughts, but you have to be able to help us get your answer on the show?
I can get you Dave. You can get Dave.
Well, yeah.
What's the coach from Clayton? What's his name?
Frank Rago.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be an interesting one.
Yes.
That's a good one.
He has a very different perspective on the game, and he's hilarious.
Okay. I've met him. I've never really talked to him, so that's a good.
I think he'd be a good guest. I don't know if I can get him for you, but I think he'd be a good guest.
Wait a minute. Clayton, is that the Phoenix Suns?
Yeah, they just.
Okay, yeah.
They were scoring 100 points.
That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. Well, Fred, thank you for coming on the show. I think you gave us a lot of great information, a lot of useful information for coaches out there, and just to see kind of like what the process has been of you taking that one seat over. Yeah. Good luck this season, except on I believe it's January 19th, where I got to figure out some way to coach against you.
We're going to live stream that game, right?
Yes. The new Let's Get It will be in the building.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But no, thank you and good luck. For Fred Battee, for Jason Brice, I'm Marcus Bullock. Thanks for watching Baseline Thoughts. Thank you for watching Baseline Thoughts, powered by Baseline Hoops. Check out Baseline Hoops for all your basketball development needs. Please visit us on all social media platforms at Baseline Hoops NJ. If you like the show, please like and leave a comment and let us know if you have any topics you would like to hear on Baseline Thoughts.